when people don't have to learn those skills themselves, you can have an AI tool that can spit out ad copy or email marketing copy or social media copy. But one, how do you know if that copy is any good? If you aren't knowledgeable yourself enough to be able to interpret it.
Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around.
In this episode, we dive into the entrepreneurial journey with John, a second-generation digital marketer. Discover how he learned the ropes of entrepreneurship, overcame challenges, and evolved his mindset from focusing solely on money to prioritizing customer satisfaction. Learn valuable lessons from his experiences and gain insights into the world of entrepreneurship. Whether you're a seasoned business owner or just starting out, this episode has something for everyone. Hey, John, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast, man.
Yeah, thank you as well. I'm very excited. And we're both equally excited. We got each other at the same time there, and I'm ready to nurture the audience, help them as much as possible with growing their business, entrepreneurship, and everything else that we're going to get into.
I love it, man. So let's take a walk through memory lane and rediscover your origin story. I know the journey is long. I'm sure there was gear that you needed when you started that brought out your essence. Is that gear that you still need, or have you absolutely don't need in your life what you first got started with?
I think that what you got started with in your entrepreneurial journey, your life journey, you name it, you can use to fuel yourself, you can use to motivate yourself, you can use to push yourself forward. Mm-hmm. But I think it's not useful to constantly live in it, because I think that's the difference between having baggage and having useful knowledge, a deep well to pull from. And that's thankfully what I've done over the years. Is I've kind of gotten over my baggage. I've let go of my baggage. I don't feel it as much, which is good, but you can pull from it and use it in storytelling, and use it in business, use it in life when you need to.
Absolutely. So that's so accurate, because sometimes you're like, oh my God, I wish I never did that, and then have those regrets. But then if you really think deeply about it, those were the things that you did or went through,
right,
that you needed to go through to get to where you are. So absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And I think I also don't regret anything of my past, because like you're saying, without the hardships you've gone through, without what you've gone through as a person, you wouldn't be the same person. And that's important, because without any hardships, because, a lot of people think, I want as little hardships. I don't want a lot of problems in my life. I just want easy street. The problem is that doesn't develop your character. That doesn't develop your ethics. That doesn't develop your ability to handle complex problems and complex issues when they arise in the moment, and when they arise when they're least expected. And that's what gives an entrepreneur or a person the ability to manage their life better, is when they can handle things in the moment instantly, because they develop so much character from their journey, and it's necessary to have that. So no regrets, love life, live in the moment now, and pull from the past when you need to.
That's so well put. Thank you so much, John. So let's go down memory lane and talk about some of the things that got you started, right? Mm-hmm. Because as you talk about these things, I might have some things to pull from, and we can talk deeper on that topic. So start with what got you started and where you are today.
So really young. I'm a second generation digital marketer. I got started because my dad pulled our family out of someone else's basement in welfare apartments to comfortable, normal living situation when I was around 11 and 13 years old. And I saw kind of him be able to do that. And I saw the entrepreneur lifestyle and what that could be like. And I saw it made an actual real difference in my family's life. So I decided, you know what, maybe I could start learning how to do this stuff. And I started learning in private how to grow, start a business, generate leads, the very basics of building a business online as an entrepreneur. And I watched my dad. It's always great to learn from mentors. And I actually didn't accept any help from him, because, I had the ego of, I need to do this myself. I should do this without any help. How cool would it be if I did it without any guidance, which is the issue. And that was kind of the beginning of me becoming entrepreneurial. Me, when you don't have a lot of money, especially when you're younger, dealing with kids, dealing with bullying, dealing with a lot of my clothes when I was younger were like third generation hand me downs from my oldest brother to my middle
Mm-hmm.
brother to then me. Money has, when you get money, it's a whole nother feeling. It's like you don't have to worry as much. You don't have to stress as much.
Yeah.
You're not in panic mode and things are just better. So I realized early on I got a strong grasp of money, wanting it, desiring it, needing it, because that was how it helped us eat. It helped, our
Mm-hmm.
family change our circumstances to a lot better situation.
That's an excellent point. And in Alex Ramos's latest book, right, $100 million Leads, he talks about
Yeah.
you have to sell stuff to make money. People skip the part about making money, right? You need all those freaking pieces
Right.
to be able to make money. You got to have the offers, you got to have the leads, you got to be able to sell them to
Yep.
then make the money. So it's really cool that you were like, okay, I need the money. I need this is what I'm going through, and this is what's going to help me get to the next level. And it's true, money might seem like it's a very important thing, and it is because it is a very powerful tool. Right?
Right.
It is again a simply a tool. It's a very powerful tool to help you get to the next level.
Yes, it makes life, from my experience, it makes life a lot better in some ways. It reduces stress because you're not worrying about. It makes you more comfortable. It enhances what characteristics you already have, makes you
Mm-hmm.
more of that person. The only problem I think most entrepreneurs have with money, other than wanting more of it, of course, is the problem or issue of focusing mostly on the money and not on, when you're starting a business, when you start making some money and start growing your business over time, like I did when I was around 18, 19 years old, when I started actually making some decent money online,
Mm-hmm.
it starts becoming more about the money and making it sale versus helping the customer and what
Yeah.
you need to do to truly get them the best experience in life possible with your product and services, which is what makes you more money anyways in the long run. So that's something that I've gone to focus on as I've earned more money, as I've made more money, as I've progressed my wealth and maturity. I've made sure to focus on customer has to be first. One, because the reason you're in business in the first place is to actually help people. If you're not doing that, you shouldn't be in business. Number
Yeah.
two, the side effect is making money. And when you know how to balance the relationship between wanting more of it, but actually knowing that the best way I get more of it is to actually just help people, that's a better focus to have for sure.
No, I love that, man. Thank you so much. So, tell us, what was your first business that you got started into, and what was the problem that you were trying to solve? Because the reason that I like to ask this question
Mm-hmm.
is I recently started teaching high school students intro to business or entrepreneurship.
Nice.
So I really want to teach them and tell them that, hey, entrepreneurs are come in all shapes and forms, and
Yep.
they're starting something because they're trying to number one, solve a problem. It could
Yep.
be their own problem or problem that they see somebody else is facing. So I would
Yeah.
love to hear, what's a problem that you're solving.
The problem that I was actually trying to solve, and I'm actually on the third and hopefully final iteration of this thing right now, is the everything problem of an entrepreneur. So as an entrepreneur goes through their journey, you know this well, we all do, as we're in business. As you go through your journey of learning how to grow, start a business, eventually hire VAs, train a full team, bring on a full team, you name it, you go through iterations of, you're constantly learning, whether it's through courses, whether it's through coaches, consultants, whether it's through doing your own research, whether it's through blog posts, YouTube videos, you name it. You're constantly learning how to generate leads, how to do follow up, how to set up your funnels, your sales processes, sales processing itself. You're always in this. And even when you get to 6, 7 figures and beyond, you're having your team learn how to manage your email marketing, manage your ads, you name it. It's constantly something that you'd never stop doing. So I always thought of, what if there was a single place people could turn to where they could learn all of this without going anywhere else? Because there's so much information. You teach what you teach, I teach what I teach. There's, Frank Kern, who teaches email marketing and AI right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's Michelle Pasuto, who teaches social media marketing. Let's say you can find the information, but there's 25 different sources to learn from. Some of it costs tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Some of it costs $20 a month. You name it. There's a wide variety. So I wanted to solve that problem and make it so there's one single place that any
Mm-hmm.
business can turn to at any size to learn how to grow, optimize, manage, scale their business. So at the time, my first business I created was this idea, just wasn't executed very well.
Sure.
From my school, a law of attraction kind of worked out. So I told my dad about my idea. He goes, well, you need to find someone who can create it, because I didn't know how to use a funnel system. So
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about it, and for some reason, out of nowhere, one of my old friends from school approached me at school and said, hey, I know how to code. Do you want to do a business or something? Somehow he must have overheard me talking.
Mm-hmm.
Magically, he came to me. So anyways, we started the business. My only job I've ever worked at was at Walmart for 6 months to fuel the business. I had $2,000 or $3,000 saved. I put it all into the business. I paid him some, and we launched it, and it was a complete, utter failure. And that's usually how first businesses and sometimes second businesses go.
Yes,
That's okay.
there's a lot of lessons to learn from failure. You are going to fail no matter how much time and effort you put into it. There is going to be failure, and which is a good thing, because
Yes.
that's going to teach us, okay, what can we fix to go the next mile.
Yeah, a lot of it teaches a lot of, I think, navigating of circumstances and situations. So, for example, right now in the process of, I'm in the final iteration of this thing called Profitalize. In the final iteration of it, I'm making a lot of partnerships with some decently large companies, one of which
Mm-hmm.
is a top 3 or 4 top affiliate marketing networks in the world. Because a lot of my business over the years has been in affiliate marketing. And before this one, we're in the process and they're about to say yes, which is fantastic. But before they said yes, I talked to 4 of the companies. No, 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 no. I've been reaching out in many other industries to make partnerships with the education and training company I'm building. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, no. Being an entrepreneur sometimes is great. There's a lot of
Yeah.
progress that's made, but also a lot of the times it feels like you're in the ring with Mike Tyson. Your gloves are made out of bunnies, and he has brass knuckles on, and he's just beating you down, because
Yeah.
to get the yes, whether it's a yes from a prospect, whether it's a yes from a lead, whether it's a yes from a customer, or a yes in making a partnership or going on a podcast, anything,
Mm-hmm.
it's beyond pulling teeth at times. But
Yeah.
as you grow, it gets a little easier over time.
You're so right. I mean, you have to go through, number one, the failures. Number two, the no's. I mean, it's really hard to face a no and be able to go through a no. It's almost like a physical punch.
It is.
Like your mind, gives you the same, like the reaction of the mind is the same if you were punched in the face or punched in the stomach or getting a no, because you put
Right.
so much effort into asking that question. There's a book by Jiajing called I can't remember the name of the book, but
Mhm.
his philosophy was the rejection, something around rejection, where he was
Mhm.
like, hey, there's a theory of rejection where you take 30 days and you basically are getting 30 no's in those 30 days. He's like, what if I did 100? So he did 100 days of, I'm going to do something that I'm going to get a rejection. I'm getting get a no. And
Yep.
and then as he's doing this, he's like, I'm going to video record myself getting these rejections. And
Mhm.
then the first lesson that he gained from the first video, he goes up to this guard and says, hey, can I have $100, or can I borrow $100?
Mhm.
And the guard was like, no. So it's like, all right, thanks. He just runs away right away.
Mhm.
And then he watches his video again. It's like, wait, why did I run away? Why didn't I just give him a reason to change that no to a yes, or
Right.
change, something from the other perspective? So that was really interesting.
It's a perspective that no actually means no, and usually it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
You need probably a sixth no from someone before they actually mean it, and even still, then
Right.
you can turn it into yes. So this is probably one of my. I would like to talk about it if we can. One of
Mm-hmm.
my superpowers, of course, other
Yeah,
than
yeah, absolutely.
business conversion optimization, different business related things. One of the things I'm usually good at is asking and asking in a way that you get a yes. And if I don't get a yes right away, you keep asking until you get a yes. So, for
Mm.
example, there's a YouTuber called Influencer Joy who has, I think beyond 1 million plus subscribers,
Nice.
big channel, great guy to work with. And him, some of the partnerships I'm making, there's many different examples I can give of where, whether or not they even answered, I follow up again. I follow up again. I ask again. If I want to make a connection, this is for every entrepreneur, every person who has a business, anyone looking to acquire any job or to get anything done from another person.
Mm-hmm.
I reach out to, for example, if I want to work with Influencer Joy, I reach out to 3 of his YouTube guests he's had before. I also reach out to anyone in his company that I can get in contact with. If it's a company partnership, I reach out to 3 people in the company. I reach out to the CEO of the company, the highest up possible. Everyone else, I reach out to all the gatekeepers. They don't answer. You keep following up. You keep messaging. You keep interaction until you
Yeah.
get a response. And then with that response, you handle the objections and focus on how you can continue moving the conversation forward. And also, always, I lead as much as I can with value. How can I contribute? How can I give? What do I have to offer that I can lead with first? Make it all
Yeah.
about them. Because people, if you've ever read, I think, Influence Friends and When People, I forgot the title of the book, one of the greatest
Yeah.
books I believe ever written. People
How to
are, we're all,
influence friend and family or something,
yes.
something like that.
And people are, we're selfish as human beings. So we like talking about ourselves, our interests, our businesses, our family, and our friends. So that's something that when you lead with them and how you can contribute to them and their vision, you're going to get a yes at some point. And that's another thing too, is don't be afraid of no's, because you will get a yes at some point. It's just going to
Yeah.
take repetition.
No, you're absolutely right. And with that repetition, it's a great example that you could see in nature. Like,
Mhm.
no matter how many times you pull the weeds from your garden, guess what? There's going to be another weed. There's going to be another weed. And they keep growing because they're finding opportunities and they're growing. For example, my son, he is, now 1 year old.
Mhm.
And when he, like a few months ago, when he was learning how to walk, stand up, guess what? He kept falling down. He kept
Right.
crashing. He's like, he didn't give up and say, you know what? I'm just going to crawl.
I
Forget this
wasn't meant
walking
for
thing.
walking. I
Right?
wasn't meant for walking.
They don't have that mindset of giving up. And
Right.
the crazy thing is, as we grow older, we start giving up much more easily than when we were a young child. Like my kids are so persistent
That's good.
in wanting to watch TV and wanting to
Oh,
go
that's
play
not good.
outside and play TV, wanting some candy. Like, they're so persistent. So why is it that we're not persistent enough when we
Right.
want business from somebody? And we're not just asking for something, we're actually providing them with a value, providing
Right.
with them with something that's going to change their world.
I think it's because of one, lack of belief in yourself and what you're offering. Number two, I think it's because 98% of the spam you get in your inbox and the spam you get in LinkedIn is all, hey, we want something from you. We want you to
Yeah.
buy from us, work from us. We want you. And that's the biggest problem people have when they're doing outbound lead generation. They're an entrepreneur looking to connect on a podcast, be featured in media, speak for an event, you name it, is they're leading with what you want. You have to entirely focus on what they want, how you can contribute to them, what's a connection you can make for them, what's a big business deal you can make for them. So a lot of the times what I do, especially in like social groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, is I look for, I have an opportunity. Say for example, there's a speaking event for AdWorld.
Mm.
AdWorld is a huge digital marketing event. How do I get connected with AdWorld and speak for them?
Yeah.
Well, one, I know a guy named Daniel Doan, an amazing copywriter, who I reached out to, who connected me to someone within the organization,
Mm.
purely led with value as well. Two, I emailed their general support. Even Lily, their general support answers quite more often than people think.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to contribute to the event. I think I can speak about a lot of great things. I'm not asking for promotion or anything. I just want to give, give, give. Leading with that type of messaging, leading with being sincere. Also, I think when people are looking to make a connection, make a partnership, make a deal,
Mm-hmm.
you name it, whether you're just getting started or you're experienced, is not just following up and doing the repetition, but also varying how you follow up. So you don't follow up with, after your first rejection or your first no or no response. You don't go, oh, well, I'm still here. I'd like to work with you. You follow up with a video. You follow up with an image, a picture of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You need to vary if you're going to really make an impact, because that's what you're doing. In order to make a deal, sell a customer, make a partnership, you have to make a genuine impact with that person for them to think, maybe it's worth talking to this person and seeing what they have to offer. So that's where you have to go well above and beyond and be extremely creative in your approach in how you're going to communicate with them. So video, image, pictures. Like I've had potential clients where I've literally sent an email to them. I took a selfie, I took a selfie video with my phone or a selfie picture and said, hey,
Yeah.
still waiting on you. Let's make a deal. And that's how I got Influencer Joy. I sent him a video, no response. I sent him a picture, no response. I sent another thing, no response. He goes, fine, I'll hire you. Let's work together. You'll eventually get it. You just have to use all these different elements.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing real quickly as well. In relationships with your spouse, with your kids, in negotiating these little deals, whether it's they get, to go outside for an hour, whether they're going to get a sucker, you name it, or it's your spouse you're trying to work with. You have to be creative in how you're willing to negotiate and communicate. And I will say that that's probably one of the most important skills any entrepreneur is going to develop.
No, man, that's really, really powerful. And we've got a section in the podcast episode, a segment where you're going to share 3 hacks so entrepreneurs can use those hacks in their lives immediately. And I think this was a precursor to that. So thank you so much.
That works.
What's really cool is if you go back to JF Kennedy's, the thing that he says, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, is exactly the type of mentality we need to have when we're reaching out to our customers, when we're reaching out to our potential clients, when we're reaching out to people. And it's true that we are still kids in our minds when we're asking somebody like, hey, can you come and do this for me? Or can I do this for you? And, asking them from the perspective of, hey, this is what I want. I don't care what you want out of it, because kids are like, oh, can I go watch TV? Can I watch 10 more minutes of this thing? Can I watch another episode? They're so persistent. So we need to, again, change that mindset and have a little value driven. Okay, what value can you bring from your experience into their lives and make their life much easier, help them save time?
Yeah, and if that's the focus, you're going to see, no matter what you're doing, who you're interacting with in life, entrepreneurial or not, there's such a different impact. Because again, the best saying I know is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes. I love that.
And I try to do that most of my life with everyone I interact with. If you leave with that, people also, I think people don't think their communication is felt. That's the biggest misnomer, myth people need to get out of their heads. People feel how you communicate very directly. It's like why you can send your friend a text, and if they don't read it correctly, they think it's in a different tone of voice. They can get pissed off. They can get scared. They can get anything because you unintentionally give intention to what you say by how you phrase it and how you communicate it in the form you use.
I love it, man. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we get back, John here is going to help share 3 hacks to share. Looking for the ultimate live streaming and video production studio? Discover Ecamm Live, exclusively built for Mac. It's the leading solution for podcasting, webinars, live streaming, and more. Elevate your content creation game and bring your ideas to life with Ecamm Live. Head on over to hacksandhobbies.com/Ecamm and download your studio today. Start creating with Ecamm Live and elevate your audience engagement. Download now from hacksandhobbies.com/Ecamm or tap on the link in the show notes. Hey guys, welcome back. We've been talking with John Weberg, and so much fun talking about the power of really looking at your failures, solving those problems, and then preparing for the people that we're working with. But as we're sitting in the green room, John and I were talking about something that's on the tip of our minds and how technology is moving so fast. So before we go into the 3 hacks to share, John, let's take a look at what AI is going to do and what has enabled us to do, and where it might be going. I think you have a few takes on
Yeah. So yeah, we got really excited and we're like, we need to record this. So I think it's going to do two things. When it's fully developed, you're going to see that AI is going to change the world and how it operates. Whether it's navigation, I mean, literally every industry will be affected by it because
that.
it is, imagine the internet, but a super internet that is instantaneously improving itself. Most people don't comprehend, and actually, a lot of people I've been talking to,
Yeah.
other than people who are marketers and business people, who we are all deep in it, but everyone else in normal life, quote unquote, which is a weird term to use. Like I bring up to my girlfriend's family about AI, they go, "Oh, what? Chat GTP? What is that?" It
Right.
still hasn't gotten there yet.
No.
But I think, unfortunately, for those who do know about it, what it's going to do, as we were talking about, is it's going to actually temporarily do the exact opposite of what it was designed for. So,
Mm-hmm.
what it's designed for is to make business, life, navigating different technological stuff a lot easier. The problem is, like we discussed a little bit, was when people don't have to learn those skills themselves, you can
Mm-hmm.
have an AI tool that can spit out ad copy or email marketing copy or social media copy. But one, how do you know if that copy is any good?
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't knowledgeable yourself enough to be able to interpret it. Number two, how does this ad copy, let's say you just spit out some ad copy using ChatGTP, is it good compared to your sales process, to your follow up, and does it integrate with those things exactly? Is it good compared to the competitors? There's so many different things, and I think what it's going to do as well is just eliminate people learning and becoming knowledgeable about these skill sets. And when things happen, things break, things don't work out, you need someone to actually be able to interpret and make a change that's going to fix what's not working. You're going to be lost because people no longer, you're relying only on AI and not on yourself and interpretation of the
Yeah.
information you're receiving to make decisions.
No, that's a really great take, and I appreciate you talking us through it. All
Mhm.
right. So before I have a lot to say about AI, so I'm not gonna say it in this segment. But let's jump into the three hacks you have
Mhm.
for our superpreneurs.
Yeah, so three hacks for, regardless of where you're at in your business, you're just getting started, or you're doing seven figures, you're traveling, you're speaking, you're doing amazing things right now. Number one, my biggest thing is I want to be efficient in my business. I want to be efficient in how I work on my business and my systems and automations within it. So number one would be take breaks often throughout your day, and anyone on your team, VAs, you name it. From what I've learned and from studies I've seen, you only work efficiently for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, sometimes less. Past that, you're actually reducing what you're doing. You're making it worthless because you're not as efficient as you could be if you took a 10, 20-minute break to relax, eat, think, walk, move. Move, because as entrepreneurs, we sit at our desk a lot, we don't move. It's a problem for me and everyone else. Move. So make yourself as efficient as you possibly can, because how you work and how you interpret how you work and how you can optimize how you work, and for people in your organization as well, that's huge for making a business grow. Number two, the biggest thing that most businesses want is not what they need. The biggest thing most businesses want is more leads. Bring in the leads, pour them on. That's all we need, is give us more and more leads. When the vast majority of the time, most of your profit and most of your growth is going to come from the existing business you have and the process your leads go through. Most businesses neglect their funnels. Most businesses neglect optimizing or doing any follow up of any kind, you name it. So you need to become, or have someone in your organization become, very efficient at optimizing what you already have in place, your websites, your funnels, your sales processes, your funnels, and your follow up. That is where the most amount of your profitable growth is going to come from, because the majority of businesses have a constantly leaking bucket and they're just pouring more water in. Yes, over time the bucket's going to overflow and you're going to make more money, you're going to produce more leads and more sales, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
if 3 to 10 times to 20 times more profit could be made by plugging some of those holes, You're going to have so much more money to grow your business faster, invest in
Yeah.
better employees, training, more courses, more education, everything else, better AI tools, you name it. The
Mm-hmm.
final one, I'm giving lengthy but good answers, I hope. The
I love it.
final one is, I guess, what we've kind of talked through is don't take no for an answer. Don't take a fifth no for an answer. Whether it's working with, making a deal with your kids, your spouse, your wife, a business partnership, some kind of idea you want to get across to someone, come back after a no or objection or no response and think of, how can I think of this person and what they need, what they want first? How can I communicate that to them genuinely so they feel I actually care about them and their results they're going to generate? Focus entirely on the other person. And I have a fourth one. By doing all these different things, and by also, again, focusing on what your customers want, what your spouse
Mm-hmm.
wants, you're going to be a much happier, feeling more accomplished, proud person. Because from my journey in life, I used to actually be not the best at communication. I actually, at one time, had zero friends. When I was going through high school, there was a time period I had no friends. I went to my dad bawling. No one likes me. I feel like a loser. I no one wants to talk to me. I literally sit by myself in a room. At school, there was this huge lunchroom, an auditorium, and I actually had food thrown at me. I was like that kid.
Oh my God.
I don't go into emotion podcast, but I was actually like a really lonely, like loser kid, you name it. Is I decided there's two perspectives you can take on that. Is A, get mad, get upset, get pissed off, hate everyone, and I did a little bit of that initially, but I realized the only way I can feel better is one, if I feel better about myself and if I actually
Mm.
focus on other people. What am I actually doing wrong? Even though it seems like everyone's against me, there's other issues going on too in the world at the time, but I need to focus on other people, how I can help, how I can give to other people, focus on the few people, the few partnerships, the few deals that are going to work out. And yeah, just focus on other people and giving first. By doing that, you're going to feel so much more fulfilled. I usually go the humor route. I love being
Yeah.
humorous. I love being myself. I love smiling. I love just giving, being present, and doing that alone, being present in a situation and authentic. It will make the world a difference for everyone.
Man, I love that so much because I recently saw this post from my friend. She focuses on um, customer emotion or emotional intelligence, and
Mm-hmm.
she talks about some of the ways to hack your happy hormones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are these happy hormones? Well, there's the dopamine, it's the reward chemical, the
Yep.
oxytocin, the love hormone, the serotonin, the mood stabilizer, and the endorphins, which are the pain killers. And some of the things
Yep.
that you mentioned here, the oxytocin, your brain releases oxytocin when you're helping others.
Yep. Yep.
Isn't that crazy, right?
And
And
it's needed. It's people need it because it makes you feel good. It helps
yeah,
both of you. And again, what's going to get the best results for someone is when you care the most about them and you like. Imagine thinking of this. I want to say this real quickly. I didn't mean to interrupt. This gets me excited. I start getting
yeah.
out of my chair. Imagine two ways to interact with someone you want to work with.
Hmm.
One is you're excited, you're genuine, like, I want to get you the absolute best results possible, and I'm willing to do anything to make that happen. Or,
Mm,
hey, I have the service, come buy from me. You have to genuinely lead with that passion, lead with, I know what I offer is good, I know it can actually help the person. Lead with how much you care about the person. That's what when people buy as well in the first place, is when they feel like they can trust you. They feel like you actually care about them. You're
yeah.
transparent. But yeah, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just get
No,
passionate
no.
about stuff because I feel it. I know it works, and like it feels good to actually like not just do business to get a sale, but to
I mean,
actually
it's
care about
it's
who. Yeah,
literally, how our bodies are made and how our brains are designed. So
right.
thank you so much, John, for that wisdom, that the passion. That I love. I totally love it, and that's why I
Thank you.
do these episodes, because I'm making that connection. I'm helping others. I'm creating these relationships, and we get to share our experiences with the world.
Yes, yes, we do.
And
Thank
talk
you.
about experiences. Let's jump into the rapid fire questions that I love
Okay,
to ask my guests. Number
I'm ready.
one, what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
A sport. I think a sport. So I used to do a little bit of sports, but I should have like honed down on one and got like really
Mm,
good at it. Yeah, I think so.
nice. I love it. Next one up. What did you want to be when you were a child?
I wanted to be either a scientist because I'm
Mm,
actually really smart with school, mathematics, science. Either a scientist,
mhm.
and just in general, I wanted to be wealthy, which I'm getting to almost where I would like to be. But yeah, I just wanted the moolah too.
Well, absolutely. So what I see is, so you wanted to be a scientist, and as a digital marketer, you're technically using science to understand, right, how
Yeah,
people use devices, how people are putting stuff together. So I think
science,
there's,
psychology. It's a lot of.
yeah,
So
nice.
I
I
did
love it.
become what I wanted in
You
a way.
did, right? You're a psychologist and a
Yeah,
scientist in
yeah.
one way or another. All right, next up, what is your favorite movie or TV show?
Ooh, my favorite movie would probably be I Am Legend. I Am Legend's really good. It's a classic. Will Smith did a great job in it. If I
Yeah.
had to pick a TV show, that'd be hard. But there's an anime called Berserk. It's a
Mm,
dark, grimy, bloody, but it tells a story of basically just a character who, if you could imagine the worst beginning story
hmm.
possible, I won't go into details, but because it's
That would
that
be
kind of
it.
gruesome. But the best hero story, one of the best hero stories ever written in like a different approach to how you look at things.
Hmm.
Amazing.
Nice. I'll have to check those out. I do like I Am Legend, and I can't wait for part two that they've
Yes,
slated to come out pretty soon.
I heard.
Pretty epic. All right, next up, what movie would you choose if you, John, got to play a character in it?
Ooh, I like that question a lot. If I could choose to be a character in a movie, I think it would be. I could pick another Will Smith movie like 7 Pounds or
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it's called. I forgot the name of it exactly, but one of those where it's a redemption arc or you're I like movies and I like characters that represents like real life. Like it's not just
Mm-hmm.
up and up and off and you accomplish
Oh yeah,
exactly what you
yeah, yeah,
want.
yeah.
And I like where it's you have a hard start or the pursuit of happiness. That's a
The
perfect.
Pursuit of Happiness, so
He has some
powerful.
really good job with some great movie. One of the best movies I think as well ever made.
Yeah.
Is it represents like real life. You could do Cinderella Man too, and many others like that. There's so much more complexities to relationships, to how you manage life, to your own story, how you interpret your own story, the world does, you name it. I like complexity. I'd also say shout out to my favorite rapper as well, and another great movie, 8 Mile. Eight
8 Mile,
Miles.
yes,
Eight
Eminem.
Miles is a great movie, and it's a very good, close to kind of my origin story in some ways.
Sure.
People, go watch those movies, please. After this podcast, go listen to those movies. They're pretty good.
I love him. Thank you so much, man. Next up, who is your favorite superhero?
This is a hard one
Mm.
because Batman has some flaws because he just lets the villains live and then they just commit more crime. But he lets them live, so he's a nice guy. You have Superman, who same thing, kind of. My favorite hero would probably have to be. I like Green Lantern a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The origin story behind Spawn is good, lesser known. Iron Man, and so I'd probably go with Green Lantern or
Well, you
Spawn.
got
If
to
I could,
pick one. You've
oh,
thrown out a lot of options, and people are like,
let,
"Come on, John, pick one."
let's go with Green Lantern. I just think the idea
Oh, I
behind him,
like it.
and there's also there's yellow lanterns, there's white lanterns, there's
Oh yeah,
all
absolutely. I've
there's
seen all.
people you know, but other people don't
I've
know. There's
They
actually
don't
so
know,
much
right?
more lore.
There's so
Yeah.
much more, but because the Green Lantern core is based on your willpower.
Yep.
The Yellow Lantern is all around fear, and
Yep.
then there's like a blue one and a red
One
one.
I think is like passion. One's something. Yeah.
Yeah, so
There's
it's all
one's
the
like
different,
fury. Yeah.
yeah, all the different emotions that we have
Yep.
that power these effects, and
Mhm.
I think DC has done a really good job in the animated series. If you watch the animated series, they
Mhm.
bring in all of the different lanterns, color lanterns, and I think they're bringing back DC Green Lantern and
I hope so.
yet a third character. So I can't remember the name. So the
Hmm.
first one was Flash Gordon,
Yep,
right? The second one was
he was in the last one, wasn't he?
I know I can't remember his
We,
name.
we should
I
we should be
just
able to think of it
I
on spot.
just saw it the other day. But
But
anyways,
yeah,
it's really
I,
powerful.
I quickly I recommend people like maybe you're not into like DC or Marvel or some of these other things. Take a second to look a little bit deeper. They
Mhm.
usually actually have a much more rich story
Oh yeah,
and much more detailed verse than you think. Like if you're into Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead, those actually don't compare in the depth of a lot of these different built out universes that can be
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. John Stewart was the
Hmm.
second
Hmm.
Green
Hmm.
Lantern.
There you go.
So yeah, there we have superhero Green Lantern. All right, last question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Oh, Monopoly. Number one, instant answer. It's got to be Monopoly. One, because I usually win because I'm good at long term.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it's the most enraging, fun. Me and my family literally would play for like 10 hours at a time. Sometimes we would have
Wow.
multi day Monopoly sessions. Okay, you're going to go to work, we're going to go to school. But tomorrow night after
Come
dinner,
back. Yeah.
we're coming back to this game. We are going to finish it. Because my
Yeah.
dad had an old fat, these are supposed to be quick answers, but I like depth. So we had this old fashioned ones with $500 bills, completely different look. Great Monopoly board set.
Mm.
It was taped together, it was so old. And yeah, we would play for sometimes days on end. Maybe that's where some of the negotiating skills come from. But
There you
Monopoly,
go.
by far, I don't care what board game you got. To me, number one all time.
I love it. Awesome, man. Thank you so much, John, for your time, your wisdom, and your lessons that you've shared with us. This was a fun episode. And again, I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks again.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around